What's good, y'all? And welcome back to another preseason preview video. In today's video, we're going over the Los Angeles Lakers. In case this is your first preseason preview video of mine you're seeing, basically what I do is go over the offseason, give a little recap there, and then try to look into the future and see what we can expect in this upcoming season. Going to be dropping videos on all 30 NBA teams, so make sure you check out the channel for the ones I already uploaded, and then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the ones that are coming out in the future. But let's just jump right into it, man, and talk about the Lakers. Last year was a very interesting year, to say the least. Like, winning wise on the court, they did pretty good. They ended up being the third seed, going 50-32. When it came to the playoffs, they were a little bit disappointing. They lost in the first round to the Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. But like I said, it was a very interesting season because obviously we all know halfway through they traded for Luka Doncic, the biggest star trade that we've had in years, maybe even history of the NBA. So that definitely, kind of throws some things off the track a little bit. Also, they had a first-year head coach of JJ Redick. Shout out to JJ. He did a great job in his first year. I really like what I saw from him. But as you can see, there was a lot going on besides just what was on the court for the Lakers. To be fair, though, I feel like you could probably say that pretty much any year about the Lakers. It seems like there's always some other external type of thing going on. This last year, though, definitely I feel like put it a little bit above some of these other past years for the Lakers. Regardless, though, it is kind of a start of a new era here with the Lakers. Obviously, they traded for Luka Doncic, and he just signed his extension for the next few years. He will be in LA for sure, locked down. And obviously, the Lakers have said it, but trading for Luka was a long-term thing. But they still have a very competitive roster and are looking to compete for championships. So let's just jump right into it and start talking about the offseason the Lakers had. Before we talk about the guys they are bringing in, I do want to highlight some of the losses. And honestly, the Lakers had one of the biggest losses, not including like all-star caliber players, out of the entire offseason, honestly. The guy I'm talking about is Dorian Finney-Smith. He signed a new contract with the Houston Rockets, and that was very surprising to me. I kind of penciled him into re-signing with the Lakers immediately, and then, very quickly into the offseason, he signed with a new team. Obviously everyone knows the connection he has with Luka Doncic. They're very close as players and as friends, but also just on the court, he was very important to the Lakers, and they had a very big role for him. He was a very good 3-and-D power forward for them, probably their best 3-and-D wing. Very versatile defensively. He even ran some small ball center for them, which was very important, especially last year considering the big hole that they had after trading Anthony Davis. They didn't really have a true big on the roster, but Dorian Finney-Smith is versatile enough and productive enough where he can kind of fill in that role. And the fact that they lost him in free agency kind of sucks. Like, obviously I said, aside from the all-star players like Kevin Durant or Desmond Bane that moved teams this offseason, those guys got traded, so their team got something back in return. The Lakers literally got nothing back for Dorian Finney-Smith. They traded D'Angelo Russell midseason for him, and then he just kind of walked. And again, I really do think that that's going to hurt the Lakers. It's going to hurt their depth. It's going to hurt their defense. It's going to hurt their three-point shooting. And then again, the fact that he was able to run a small ball 5 for them. I really think that that was one of the best lineups the Lakers ran last year, where Dorian Finney-Smith was at the 5 alongside Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. That was a very productive lineup for them. And obviously now he's not on the team, so they can't really run that type of lineup anymore. And then the Lakers also lost Jordan Goodwin. They waived him this offseason, and then the Phoenix Suns picked him up off waivers, so he's out in Phoenix now. But I really thought that Jordan Goodwin was pretty productive and pretty underrated off the Lakers bench last year. Very good defensive-oriented point guard. And obviously we'll get to the guys that the Lakers brought in. I think there's a pretty easy guy that they're kind of just swapping out to fill that role that Jordan Goodwin had. But again, we'll talk about that in just a second. And that's a good segue right into the guys that are actually coming to LA this offseason. Starting off first, DeAndre Ayton is probably the biggest name that's coming to LA. He got bought out on the last year of his contract by the Portland Trail Blazers, so he signed a new 2-year, $16.7 million deal with the Lakers. That second year is a player option, though. And first things first, I do want to say this contract for DeAndre Ayton, he's only making a little bit over $8 million a year. I do think that's good value for the talent he is. I do think that he is a solid center, a talented guy. Obviously, he went first overall not that long ago. He is very talented. Does he fit what the Lakers need at center? No, not really. So obviously, like I was saying before, once the Lakers traded Anthony Davis, they didn't have a true center. You know, it was Jackson Hayes there. It was a little bit of Christian Coloco when he was healthy. They didn't really have a true center that, you know, is good enough, no disrespect to those guys, to be like a starting caliber center. DeAndre Ayton definitely is a starting caliber center. He's got good size. He can rebound the ball. The one thing I don't really like about this move, though, is the Lakers want more of a defensive-oriented center that would definitely fit their scheme better. And they also want a good pick-and-roll partner for Luka Doncic. Luka is one of the best pick-and-roll ball handlers in the NBA. It makes sense that you would want to pair him up with someone that's a good pick-and-roll roll man. DeAndre Ayton, I don't really see him as a pick-and-roll roll man. He likes to really operate in that mid-range, which, you know, is pretty efficient. That's kind of a decent shot for him. But also, what's more efficient is Luka Doncic throwing a lob to a big because, again, he's one of the best lob throwers, pick-and-roll ball handlers in the NBA. So offensively, I do think that it is a little bit weird to have DeAndre Ayton fitting into this offense. Also, again, defensively, I mentioned he's not much of a defensive-minded guy. He is big, being 7 foot. He is strong. But what really has been like the thing following him his whole entire career is his effort, especially his defensive effort. Once he got traded to Portland, it kind of fell off a cliff. We did see him be kind of a rim protector a little bit in Phoenix in his early years, so maybe he'll revert back to that. I don't really know, but again, objectively, like, they got more talent at the big position at the center, and that is good. It's just the fit kind of a little bit questionable in my eyes. That wasn't the only buyout guy the Lakers went after, though. They also signed Marcus Smart after he got waived by the Washington Wizards. Marcus Smart signed a 2-year, $11 million contract. And on paper, Marcus Smart definitely fits what the Lakers need. He obviously is a former Defensive Player of the Year, was at one point one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. I will say that was about 2 or 3 years ago since we've seen him play like meaningful basketball and be healthy for an extended period of time. So that's definitely a big question mark around him, but kind of the same thing towards DeAndre Ayton. For $5.5 million a year, Marcus Smart, that's pretty good value there. You hope that he is healthy, but if he isn't, it's not like you're breaking the bank here. But if he is healthy, he will be able to help the Lakers out with some of their perimeter defense and bring in some intensity there. Also, he's not like a knockdown shooter, but he definitely is not scared to shoot the 3 ball. And I do think last year the Lakers struggled as a team with 3-point volume. Again, Marcus Smart's not going to shoot 40% from 3, but he definitely will shoot it if he's open. And then also, Marcus Smart is a pretty solid ball handler and playmaker, so he could definitely help in some situations where Luka and LeBron are off the court. You know, maybe him and Austin Reeves as a backcourt we could be seeing together, or even just as that secondary playmaker to help relieve some pressure off guys like Luka and LeBron. Another signing they made was going after Jake LaRavia. He signed a new 2-year, $12 million deal, and he's coming here almost strictly to be a 3-point shooter. That is by far his best ability on the basketball court. He does have really good size too, being 6'8", but Jake LaRavia, when he's on the court, he is looking to shoot the ball, catch and shoot, coming down pin downs and stuff off movement. He is a solidified 3-point shooter. The last few years in Memphis, he didn't really have too big of an opportunity to get like loads of playing time. Here with the Lakers, I definitely think he's going to be a big part coming off their bench, and again, he's going to get a lot of open 3-point shots with the attention that Luka and LeBron and even Austin Reeves bring. And last but not least, even though it's not technically an addition, they did re-sign Jackson Hayes, who was a free agent, to a 1-year veteran minimum contract. And now that we recap the offseason, let's take a look at a potential rotation we could be seeing for the Lakers. In the starting lineup, we have Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton. And then off the bench, we have Gabe Vincent, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes. So I gotta be honest, when I look at this Lakers roster, it is really difficult for me to kind of gauge how good they will be. And we'll get to the ceiling, floor, and expectations in a little bit. But, you know, obviously you have your guys of Luka Doncic, LeBron James. Those top 2 guys are so good. Luka, one of probably top 5 player in the league. I think that's safe to say. And then LeBron, top 10, top 15, depending on who you ask. There's a pretty substantial drop-off in talent behind those 2 guys. Like, shout out to Austin Reeves. He had a great year last year. Really improved a lot in my eyes as a ball handler, creator, shooter, just all around. Looked incredible last year, so I don't want to disrespect him, but there still is just such a big fall off of talent. And then even when you look beyond like Austin Reeves, or if you want to give it even broader, look beyond their starting lineup, there is a serious drop-off of talent. And what makes it so confusing is in years past, we have seen guys like LeBron be one of the best players in the league and just kind of piggyback his team, bring them far in the playoffs throughout the regular season, all of that. Luka has done similar things too earlier in his career where the rosters really weren't that great. He shouldered some of these guys. We've seen Nikola Jokic do it. You know, it is definitely a thing that has happened in the NBA, but I feel like recently there has been more of a shift where it's oriented more towards complete rosters, complete rotations, having talent go consistently throughout that. Like when we look at the last champion, the OKC Thunder, they had consistent talent 1 through 10. Before that, the Boston Celtics, consistent talent like 1 through 9, 1 through 10. And I just feel like the league all around is getting more talented where you need that complete team rather than just leaning on like 2 guys or 1 guy, your big 3. You need more of a complete roster, and this Lakers team is far from a complete roster. I will say, I do think they marginally got better a little bit. Like I said with DeAndre Ayton, he is a center that is way better than anyone they had just pure talent-wise, but again, the fit of it doesn't really, I don't love that part of it. Jake LaRavia, I think, is a cool signing. Will definitely help them with their three-point shooting. He's cool. That's about it. Since they have Luka, since they have LeBron, like I mentioned, Austin Reeves being a much improved player, other guys like Rui Hachimura or Jake LaRavia, Gabe Vincent, maybe he kind of had a little bit of a bounce back year last year. I think all of these guys can contribute to a very solid to above average offense. I do think the Lakers could have a near top 10, maybe, top 7 offense at its peak. I definitely think that can handle it. I still do have a lot of concerns about their defense, though. I don't want to turn this whole video into hating on DeAndre Ayton. I've already kind of spoke my piece about him, but then you look at the rest of the starting lineup of Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron. There's no good perimeter defender in there. Like, shout out Austin Reeves. He tries, just not his game. It doesn't have the athletic ability, I think, to really keep up with these quicker guards, these bigger perimeter guys. I definitely don't think that he can handle that. LeBron is a solid defender. He was good last year. He's also 40 years old. That's a lot to put on anyone, let alone a 40-year-old man that, is getting towards the end of his career, sadly. You can't ask him to be their best scorer, their best driver, one of their better ball handlers and playmakers and defenders. That is just way too much at this point for LeBron, I feel like. And they'll definitely have lineups where they would have decent defenders. Like, again, shout out Gabe Vincent. He's a little bit smaller, but he's a solid perimeter defender against, other guards. Marcus Smart, again, it's been a while since we've seen him fully healthy, but I still do think that he can be at least above average defensively. Jared Vanderbilt, if he is healthy, can definitely be above average defensively. I just really am concerned about how consistently the Lakers will be able to get stops, because I really don't think it will be too consistently. What it'll really come down to is, can Luka and LeBron create enough offense to really win a lot of these games and keep them in it? And then, obviously down the stretch, those two guys are some of the best in the NBA. I don't know if there's many guys I would take over Luka and LeBron in a close game with 5 minutes left. So I really do think that it's going to be just kind of coast through the first few quarters, keep the offense afloat, keep it high enough where they could stay close in a game, and then kind of just get timely stops and take over. I think that's the Lakers' recipe for success. Before we move on, though, I do want to mention some notable reserves. First off, we have Maxi Kleber. He only played 1 game for the Lakers so far, and it was about 5 minutes in the playoffs. He was dealing with injury with the Mavericks last year, then got traded in the Luka trade, and then barely was able to play for the Lakers. He should be healthy, and I definitely think that he can be in this rotation, especially when you look at guys like Jackson Hayes, who got pulled from the playoff rotation last year. I could see them putting Maxi Kleber as their backup center, allowing his three-point shooting to give them just a different look offensively and kind of more of a 5-out type of offense. Or I could see them slotting him in at a power forward in case Jared Vanderbilt is dealing with some injuries or stuff. We've also seen situations where offensively just Jared Vanderbilt isn't good enough to be on the court, so maybe Maxi Kleber takes away some of his minutes. I'm not entirely too sure, but I definitely think it's a possibility. And then also Dalton Connect. He had a really good start to his rookie year last year and then just slowly started to lose his minutes more and more over time. I mentioned the Lakers and the three-point shot. I do think that they improved it. If they still need a little bit more volume, a little bit more efficiency, Dalton Connect definitely is one of those guys I could see them inserting into the lineup. And now it's time to talk about my ceiling, floor, and expectations for the Los Angeles Lakers. At their ceiling, I can see them being as high as the 4 seed. Like I mentioned, obviously they have the star power of Luka and LeBron. I just do think that there are a lot of really, really good teams, like a lot of the elite teams out west. They have way more of a complete team that I think will make it easier to outpace the Lakers across an 82-game season. Teams like the Thunder, like the Rockets, like the Nuggets have just way more depth while still having some of that top-tier star power that just make me lean more towards them than the Lakers. When you look at playoffs, though, I do think that they will be able to win a playoff series. Like I mentioned, when it comes to clutch time and all of that, who I want to have the ball in their hands to close out a game, Luka, LeBron, the list, above them, not many guys on there. So I definitely think that they could win playoff series. But at their ceiling, I do think it would be really hard for me to pick them to be a Western Conference Finals team. So because of that, I do think at their ceiling, they are a tough second round exit. When you look at their floor, I can see them being as low as the 8th seed, and in the play-in tournament, this would be more of a situation where their lack of depth really is hurting them. Their lack of defense really is hurting them. I do think, though, that their star power and their top-tier talent will succeed them and bring them at least to the play-in tournament and the postseason for sure. And I definitely trust in those guys to win a winner-go-home game. So I do think that they would make the playoffs out of the play-in tournament. But then again, that means that they would have to go up against one of the top seeds, and I don't think that they would be able to do that. So at their floor, I think they are a first-round exit again. And then looking at my expectations for them, I expect them to be around that 6th seed, maybe the 7th seed, but I do think that they are right around that top half of the play-in tournament / just barely out of it. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm a Lakers hater or anything, but the teams out west that I have above them, I think are just better, have more depth, still have that star power again. If they were in the Eastern Conference, they would probably be a top 4 team, but unfortunately, they aren't. And then when it comes to playoffs, my expectations for them, unfortunately, I do think that they're going to be a tough first-round exit. There's just way too many high-powered, super talented teams out in the Western Conference right now. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments below where you think the Lakers will end this year in the standings and in the playoffs. How far do you think Luka and LeBron can take this team? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all